Morning everyone, and welcome to New York Metro Weather's forecast discussion for September 6th, 2011, Tuesday. And today is a dreary day as our area feels the effects of the remnants of Tropical Storm Lee, which came in on the Gulf Coast a few days ago and now is interacting with a disturbance over the Great Lakes and causing a good amount of rain along a stalled frontal boundary in the area. You can see on the graphics which we have up here from the Storm Prediction Center, the radar at the top of the hour and the low pressure system down to the south of the mid-Atlantic and the frontal boundary with the lower pressures draped throughout the northeast United States. The radar loop, and you could get a better idea of where the heavier rain is. Our area experiencing some moderate rain, the heavy rain back over central Pennsylvania. It's important to note how the majority of the heavy rain has stayed northwest of I-95, northwest of New York City. In fact, we'll pull up the loop, and you can see it's just now really that the rains are starting to work southeast of 95 towards Long Island. Throughout the morning and overnight, most of the heavy rain was over, eastern Pennsylvania, northwest New Jersey near Allentown, and back towards southeast PA. The visible satellite shows that it's going to be hard to get any sun today. And this is going to hold down temperatures as well. High temperatures are forecast to be in the upper 60s throughout the area. With the low pressure system to our south, winds will be out of the east, off the water, overcast skies and rain. It's the recipe for a very raw day outside when you compare it with the weather that we've been experiencing over the weekend. The models throughout the remainder of the day have a weak area of low pressure passing offshore. That's the low pressure that provided our area with a burst of rain overnight. And then they have another weak area of low pressure nearing the region overnight tonight into Wednesday morning with some more heavy rain, moderate to heavy rain, just near the city into the north and west. But notice how heavy the rain is back over Pennsylvania, and you can look down here in the bottom right panel and look, 3 to 4 inches of rain has accumulated by Wednesday morning over central Pennsylvania. It's much less over towards our area where we're just barely approaching an inch over northern New Jersey. This continues through Wednesday afternoon, when you can note winds are still out of the east here off the water, but notice how the heaviest synoptic rain is off to our north and northwest. So although it may not be raining moderately to heavily, there still could be some showers Wednesday morning. Through the overnight it should rain moderately through about sunrise on Wednesday, and thereafter it becomes a little bit of a toss-up, because you can see the transition here on the models as they try to get this heavy rain to the north of our area on Wednesday. And then if we can get the sun to come out Wednesday afternoon, look at the temperatures responding here near the DC area in the 80s. Obviously there's still clouds here over New England. We're looking at the upper left panel, which shows the temperatures here, and the 70-degree mark does get into New York City around Wednesday afternoon, and you can see some more clearing. We get into the lower 70s. So really, although the forecast looks really dreary, we mentioned last night or yesterday in our video discussion that it's very up in the air because the models have been very inconsistent. And I mean, the NAM, which we're looking at right now, is another one that's been very inconsistent. I mean, it had 3-4 inches of rain for the city, and now it's down to quarter of an inch over the next day. But we don't want to let the rainfall totals fool you. Today is going to be dreary. Tuesday is going to be, well, the remainder of Tuesday through the afternoon is going to be very dreary. It's not going to be pleasant at all. But what we're really looking at is some glimmers of hope for Wednesday. Basically, the city and south could get into the 70s and maybe might see some peaks of sun. But you'll notice that even through Thursday, look at how the models are still picking up on precipitation and east winds. So it's not going to be warm, and there's going to be plenty of showers, isolated showers and storms around, basically through Friday, when we should finally begin to see the winds shift to more northerly component, and the temperatures might respond to going into the middle 70s, but generally an unsettled week. When we're looking through tonight, we like to look at what we call the mesoscale models, or the models that can resolve finer details. And you can see this is the SPC WRF from last night when the low pressure was still over the southeast states, and you can see the evolution It was pretty good in predicting the actual rainfall. So this would be this morning, and has this rain moving off to our east, and then you can see another batch coming through this afternoon, raining steadily, and then here's the clearing we were talking about on Wednesday as it begins to move to our north. But if you were to loop this whole thing, you can see this is a pretty dynamic system that's moving through the area with plenty of rain. Some of it could be moderate to heavy. We're going to give you a little bit of an extended look here, the NAM model. We've gone over this a few times, but we'll go over it again, try to make it easier to understand. The upper left panel here is the energy in the middle of the atmosphere. So here's the remnants of Lee, and here's the northern disturbance we were talking about. You can see they're interacting here, and on the top right, here's the result precipitation. You can see what we were speaking of earlier with the precip along the stalled frontal boundary. So here's the evolution. You could watch all the panels. Really, we'll go as slow as we can. And notice how from today through Wednesday, if you're looking at the top left panel here, so this is this morning, and now we're going into Wednesday now. Look how much the ridge builds here over the western Atlantic, and is going to keep, if we look at the top right, precipitation off to our north and west. This is really the indicator we were looking for as to whether or not we could potentially clear out on Wednesday. And if you were to loop this, you can see the heights are rising, and the upper level low here is cutting off pretty far to the west. So there is a potential for us to get a little warmer on Wednesday, and maybe, potentially, if you're in the city and south of the city over New Jersey and southeast PA, avoid the steadier rain on Wednesday. The ridge builds and then collapses a little bit on Thursday with more potential for showers. There's a whole ton of stuff going on here with the forecast, and as the storm continues to move, circle around the area here, we could see more showers through the end of the week, as we had previously discussed. Hurricane in the Atlantic continues. The maximum sustained winds are 125 miles an hour now, a Category 3. She had briefly strengthened to a Category 4, but is now undergoing an eye wall replacement cycle. Beautiful structure here. I mean, just northeast of the Bahamas. It's funny because we've been watching her for such a long time. It's because she started off the coast of Africa when we were starting to watch her, which we'll get to in a second. But the model tracks keep her well out to sea. Not really an issue of landfall anymore. We had someone ask us about this black dotted line with the triangles. That's the current heading. So if she was to continue on the current heading, that's where she would go. As you can see, all of the forecast models have her not doing that, turning to the north and then to the north and east, staying well out to sea between Bermuda and the east coast of the United States. So here's the new Invest, which we like to talk about. Invest 95 off Africa, off the Cape Verde Islands. You can see the models beginning to pick up on the track, and the movement to the north and west. There is some discrepancy here as the conditions for tropical development are not perfect, but the development is in a little bit of a precarious spot for our area, as the upper level pattern continues to support tropical cyclones if they do form and strengthen, to move to the north and west and then eventually curve to the north along or near the coast, depending on where the cold fronts are on the east coast, sweeping the storm out to sea. With Irene, that did not occur, as she was able to come up the coast and then was eventually swept to the north and east. But we'll have to watch this. A lot of the models develop it, some of them do not. But you'll notice one thing that's very consistent. It's not flying. It's not moving very fast. Most of the models have the tropical system just barely north and east of the Dominican Republic at 120 hours. That's a long ways away. So we have a lot of time to watch the development of Invest 95. Not even a tropical depression. They're just watching it for now. So we'll sum up the weather one more time in our area. Today is generally a little bit of a washout. I mean, we can't, and we were asked also about the Yankee game tonight, 7 o'clock in the Bronx, on the Baltimore Orioles at the New York Yankees. I don't want to say that it's definitely going to be postponed, because, I mean, as the models are showing, there could be some breaks. We look here, this is the NAM, there's a break here this afternoon, but then the rain rapidly redevelops overnight tonight. So it's hard to say, and the field is not going to be in great condition with the rain continuing all day. So the chances are not great that the game is played, but they're not great that the game is canceled either. So it's a little bit of a toss-up. But stay with us through the afternoon, and we'll update you on that. We mentioned Wednesday we could see some peaks of sun, and even if we don't see a peaks of sun, it'll be warmer, and the rain will be less steady on Wednesday. Showers and storms return on Thursday and continue really through Friday morning, and potentially Friday afternoon as well. Although Friday we're supposed to see the most sun of the whole week, when the sun will come back out and temperatures will rise back into the mid and upper 70s. So we'll get you through the week. It's going to be a little bit of an unsettled week. We've been talking about it for a few days, but we'll get you through it. And stick with us on Facebook and Twitter, and we'll keep you guys updated on all the happenings in our area and in the tropics. And as the week continues, we'll be looking forward to the sunshine with you. We'll talk to you guys soon.